Hi, besties. Okay, I want to talk about a concept of suffering. Not in a bad way, but I think just to understand a little bit more what is suffering, because it feels like society's going through it right now, but really this has been happening since the beginning of time. Um, so, what is suffering? It's more than physical pain. It can be emotional, it can be spiritual, psychological, like a lot of psychological suffering, I think, is occurring. And it's kind of the gap between how life might currently be, or like how we feel like life feels, and how we wish it were, right? So, we know there's a gap and we're suffering. Now, it's not always so obvious. Sometimes it's boredom, sometimes it's restlessness, sometimes it's just sadness, but it's a sense that something might be missing, even if everything looks fine on the outside. I feel like a lot of YouTube creators or influencers, you think their life looks good because their outer world might look a little bit better than yours or more glamorous, but internally a lot of us just are suffering. Trust me. So, why do we suffer? Buddhism says we suffer from attachment, or craving things to be different. Psychology might say it's from unmet needs, from trauma, distorted beliefs. Some say it's like random. I would say that I psychologically 100% agree that suffering comes from unmet needs, and it comes from your mind and body being unregulated. And I think that has a lot to do with physically. We are not getting the proper nutrients. We don't have the same nutrients we had in our food 100 years ago. Our brains at night are constantly stimulated by screens, so we're getting poor sleep. Um, every day, I hear sirens every day. That can trigger your brain, it can trigger illicit responses of fear, of, feeling like something's wrong. The air we breathe definitely might not be, the highest quality air. I mean, I know it's not. I have multiple apps that tell me the air quality index. It's very poor. I live in California also, where there was wildfires, and I can imagine what damage was done. But at the end of the day, I think that our brain is not necessarily, might not be getting the things it needs in our body, and I think that can cause a lot of suffering. So let's just face suffering for a minute. So you've suffered, I've suffered, and when you're in it, it kind of feels endless. It feels like there's no hope. You can feel hopeless. And I felt that before for sure. But some of the best people you ever meet, or some of the highest vibrating people you ever meet, have gotten there through from suffering, or they've suffered and they've made it through. So um, they don't avoid it; they just kind of face it and sat with it. And there's definitely been times in your life where you've suffered and you've learned from it. I have too. Like, I remember when I was transferring colleges, it was really tough. I was changing into new environments, and there was a lot of angriness around me, a lot of fear and doubt in myself. Did I make the right decision? And I remember I just was like really down bad, and I was like, I don't know if I made the right decision to change. Guess what? It ended up, and I say this a lot, it ended up being one of the best decisions of my life, because it got me into a big city, and it got me like really on a track of what I actually wanted in life. And now I live in LA. So if I didn't, move to Philadelphia and live in a city for 6 years, I don't know if I could have like made it to LA. It's like a whole, kind of like eclipse and leveling of experiences. So I feel very lucky, but at the time I was absolutely suffering. So, we've all done it. So, how do you kind of overcome it, or what do you do to kind of like, just get yourself over it? I would say, like I said, lean into it. Know that you're not alone. Know that everyone is suffering. Okay. I see homeless people in the street, temporarily displaced people, and I feel so much pain for them. I can only imagine how much they're suffering. I know it's easy to maybe look at them and get angry, like, you could be doing better, this or that. I know the feeling, and I'm gonna be so for real. I think it's very human to look at suffering and look at suffering that's worse than yours and think you can do something about it. We all can do stuff about our suffering, but it's easier said than done. And everyone suffers. Even if you're a billionaire, again, I know you guys, a lot of people really don't like billionaires. They really don't like people that maybe have had a lot of monetary success. I promise you, they suffer with their kids hating them, their partner hating them. Same thing everyday middle aged Americans go through. You know, um, we all suffer. We all suffer with body image. We all suffer with getting good sleep. We all suffer with purpose. So everyone is kind of doing that. So it's not something we can avoid, but maybe we can learn to relate to it differently. So kind of being outside of our suffering and realizing it's just part of our existence and maybe not like who we are. And also that just because we are feeling it, um, physically or mentally, doesn't mean we have to like sit with it and exacerbate it or like lean into it. I think I said earlier, like leaning into suffering. I think once you acknowledge and you lean into like your effed up parts of yourself, you can kind of realize like they're just parts of you. They are not you. They are not the commander. Um, and also, how can you help others with your suffering? So, for example, I feel like a lot of people are struggling. That's my alarm to go to the gym. Um, I feel like a lot of people are suffering mentally to like a lot of people are suffering spiritually, mentally, physically. Obviously, we know that. That's the point of this video. So I feel like I can't do much sometimes, and I feel like I have a very unique perspective, but I also feel like a lot of people probably have the same exact perspective as me or are struggling with the same things. So I'm like, okay, what can I actually do? I can actually make 5 to 10 minute YouTube videos every day, and I can just post them. And I might look silly, I might look stupid, I might like I might like confuse people, I might look weird at first, but you know what? If posting it literally helps one person or makes one person feel comforted, or inspiration can be a huge deterrent of suffering. So it might even be like polar opposite, vibrational energies. So if one person could look at me and be like, wow, look how much she doesn't care. And she just posts videos of her and they're not curated, they're not edited at all. I have no capacity mentally to like edit videos right now because it's a barrier to entry for me. If I had to edit them, I wouldn't post them. So right now, I might look silly or it might look very unorganized or messy. But if I can inspire one person to be like, oh, you know what? This girl like doesn't care and she's just posting, then that's great. That's how I can do my part to not end suffering, but ease suffering. So I hope this helped. If you're suffering, just know you're not alone, but you're loved, and we are all in the same boat. I really think that. So thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.